Hey guys, this is Steve from the AdventureRx vlog. This is episode number 29, and today I am incredibly excited to introduce our new vehicle that we got just today. We don't even have it completely registered yet. That's going to happen tomorrow. But it looks like the car buying drama and dealing with the insurance and totaling our old tow vehicle and figuring out how we're going to get our stuff together and get back on the road. It looks like we are much closer to actually getting back on the road right now, and today I'm going to tell you about that in this episode. So my tow vehicle got totaled a week ago, and we've been in a bind. I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to get back on the road, and that this is going to completely ruin our plans to travel in the month of June. We put the word out, asked the internet, and said, what kind of vehicle should we get to pull a small trailer? And it seemed like the overwhelming answer was get a Toyota 4Runner because they're reliable, they have a good strong engine, and they're easy to fix, relatively speaking, and they're relatively cheap as well. To be honest, it was a little bit more than what we wanted to spend, but I feel like in the long run it was worth it because we got a 2005 Toyota 4Runner that has just over 100,000 miles on it, and it's in really great condition. Having a vehicle that is finally up to the challenge of towing a trailer makes me feel a lot better, and just the confidence that I have now with a vehicle that is actually appropriate for towing is worth the extra money that it's going to cost. No part of buying this car went smoothly because everything was, you have to get the title for the old car and surrender it here, but the title is mailed to our base camp where we spend our time when we're not on the road in Utah, and your license says this, but like we need a utility bill that says your physical address, but the town that we're based out of in Utah, they don't do home delivery, so nobody gets their bill sent to their home. Plus we don't pay utilities because we live on the road. If you go on any of the forums, like on the Scamp Trailers group on Facebook, where I posted a question about what vehicle should I get, you get a huge range of responses, and there are some people who like to say that you're gonna die and it's irresponsible if you get anything other than like a big V8 with a huge diesel engine, and then there's other people that are like, yeah, I towed it behind my Honda Civic, no big deal. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, where you can probably make a go of it with a smaller engine. The CRV that we used to have, it was a 4-cylinder engine and it did the job. I pulled that trailer from Minnesota to Utah when we first bought it, and going across the state of Wyoming in the wintertime, in a blizzard, with 40-mile-an-hour gusts coming across the highway, I didn't feel like it was difficult to control. I felt like in those circumstances, which were pretty dire circumstances to start out learning how to drive with a trailer behind you, it was remarkably forgiving. The problem is that over a long period of time, not having the acceleration and not having an engine that is going to be able to handle that strain on it, it always creates this thought in the back of your mind that what if this is the time when the engine just gives up and I'm stuck out here in the middle of Nevada, California, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, wherever it is that you are. A lot of the states out west, if you're stuck somewhere, you're stuck. And so not having to deal with anxiety about the reliability of a vehicle in the towing arena is a big deal for me. So we got the 4Runner. And honestly, even though this is a process that has been really hateful, I'm thankful that it happened when it did and that it happened the way that it did, because if the CRV had broken down on the side of the road, we would have still had to get a new vehicle, but we wouldn't have had anything from the insurance settlement. I think I'm going to be really happy, even if I am paying a little extra for the gas. The one thing I want to mention, talking about fuel economy, is that the CRV would get about 26 miles to the gallon when it was driving without the trailer behind it. But once you put the trailer behind it, it was getting about 15, 14 miles to the gallon anyways. And that's about what I've been told I can expect from the 4Runner, which has a V6 engine in it. And so to my mind, it seems like it's a good trade-off, because if I'm going to still be getting about the same gas mileage, at least I can get, you know, that lower gas mileage with power that'll help me be safer and move more confidently on the highway. I'm a big fan of the dashboard here. Everything is really simple, straightforward, easy to use. There's not a lot of stuff. I've driven Toyotas before, so I have a pretty good idea of what everything does. I got cruise control down here because I would go absolutely insane driving on long stretches of highway if I didn't have the cruise control. Got a nice readout here, digital display where I can see the temperature, what's going on with the fan, where the air is blowing, outside temperature as well, and also how many miles I have until I need to refuel the car again. I'm going to have to reset the clock because the clock is not displaying the right time currently. But yeah, everything else is pretty standard. I think my favorite feature is right here. It is the, let me figure out if I can, yeah. It's this guy right here. I have had this thing since I was in high school. My very first car, which was a 1986 Volvo, that's what I used to plug in to my Discman when I would be driving so that I could listen to my music instead of having to be stuck with what was on the radio. And that thing has made it with me through every single car purchase that I've had to make. So I'm really excited to have that little bit of nostalgia coming with me into the new 4Runner here. One of the things additionally that I like is there's tons of storage space. So I can store drinks in here if I want, and I can also divide that up. It's a little storage area. You got a nice little spot here for pens and for nail clippers and various incidentals. I have sunglasses go in here, which is fine. I always find that those containers are a little bit too small to really hold the actual sunglasses. And then in here in the center console, it's just like, you know, cords, chargers, headlamps, all kinds of stuff go in there. When you look at this vehicle from the outside, you think that it's gonna be super roomy on the inside. And I don't have any complaints about the roominess because I don't need it to be any bigger than it really is. But I think some people, with the reviews that I read online, some people really expect the 4Runner to be bigger than it is, because in terms of interior space, this feels a lot like the CR-V. So if I had bought this expecting it to be like a minivan on the inside, and it was about the same size as a CR-V, I mean, it's got a little bit of extra space, but honestly, like, it feels like there's less headroom, and it doesn't feel super roomy. Like, for example, in the car seat, Lilo is able to touch the seats. If her in the middle there, she can put a foot on each one of the seats up front here, and which is super annoying. But again, that's the biggest complaint that I found on all the reviews that I read about the 4Runners was like, oh, they should be bigger. Oh, I didn't like the upholstery. Oh, this didn't, you know, it was minor stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I can deal with having my daughter kicking our seats when we're driving much better than I could deal with the possibility of like the air conditioner going out or throwing a timing belt somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And you know, this isn't a V8, it's not the biggest, it's not the ideal vehicle for heavy duty towing, but I think it's gonna hit a great sweet spot for us right in between the heavier vehicles with the V8 and the lighter vehicles with a 4-cylinder engine. It's going to be something that's going to get the job done. Hopefully, you know, we'll put 250,000 plus miles on this car, and you know, let's hope we don't have to do this again anytime soon. One more thing that I wanted to mention that I was really excited about is the fact that this thing came all ready to tow, and it even has the little electrical connection down here. So pretty much all we have to do is just hook up the trailer to it and hit the road. It doesn't have an electronic brake controller in it, so that's something that I may have to install in the coming weeks. But this thing has a 3,000 plus pound tow rating, and the trailer is about 1,500 pounds, maybe 1,700 when we have all of our stuff in it. So for right now, I feel like we're pretty good with it. You guys, make sure to subscribe to the AdventureRx vlog, because after this we're heading to Mammoth in the Eastern Sierras in California, hopefully for some climbing and for some more fun adventures instead of car buying and vehicular smash up adventures. See you on the next episode.